Hello and welcome to another episode of True Crime and Storytime. I am your host, Christy, and here we talk about a true crime or a story that either you recommended or that I've personally been interested in. This story is a recommendation from my baby girl. Excuse me. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset at. I was. Because I feel that if you were going to send me something completely disturbing, I should get a warning. And I didn't. But that's okay. We're learning. I'm trying to learn how to talk into a camera and not have an audience. So we're all learning. This story is very disturbing, though, and parents of girls especially, this one may be a little troubling for you. So I would really, really like for you guys to pay attention to that warning. Okay. Because the man we're going to be talking about today is named Jason DJ Kid Pope. And if you've heard about him, you already know. If you haven't, be prepared to really not like a man that you've never met. So, Mr. Pope is a 42-year-old white male from Florence, South Carolina. He claims to be a party promoter and a DJ. I'm not sure of his past. I don't care. His education, don't care. His family, don't care. And not because none of that is important, but for this story, it isn't. Like, this man was sick. Okay? And I'm going to read something to you, and it'll kind of give you an idea of where we're going. All right? Let me just grab my glasses because, age, can't see. But it is a source book on state and federal HIV criminal law and practice. For South Carolina specifically, people living with HIV face criminal penalties for engaging in sexual activity without disclosing their HIV status. This act is a felony and is punishable by a fine of up to $5,000 and or a 10-year prison sentence. So what they deem as sexual activity is anything in any orifice where there's bodily exchange. We'll just put it that way. The victim does not have to contract HIV for this to be a criminal offense. Now that I've read that, I'm going to tell you that this monster's criminal record goes back to 1995. I want to say December. He got charged with impersonating a police officer. And for his criminal background, probably going to need my glasses again because I got to see things. Okay. And yep. December 10th, 1995, Pope was arrested and charged with impersonating an officer. He was convicted and given a suspended sentence of 1 year in jail plus 2 years probation. So it's already not looking good for this guy, right? Because we're already delving into impersonating a person of trust. Now, I'm not saying... excuse me. Now, I'm not saying that he did this to his victims. I'm just saying it kind of helps to form the mentality of somebody, especially considering some of the victims' ages. Okay. So in February of 1996, Pope was arrested and charged with promoting prostitution with a minor. He was convicted and given a suspended sentence of 30 months in jail. I've never had like a sentence like that. Well, I'm not a criminal, you guys. Let's just put it like that. So I don't know how this works. I did, however, take a criminal justice class or two. And from what I understand, whenever you get sentenced, you get credit for time served, and or you can get released early for good behavior. So I think it's 1.5 days off of your sentence for every good day or something along those lines. Don't quote me. So let's just say his sentence is divided in half. It's 15 months, 1 year, 3 months for prostituting of a minor, I should say. Okay? It doesn't go into the girls' ages. I know, like with certain sex crimes, it'll say SA, you know what that stands for, I hope, of a minor, and then it'll say under 13 or over 13 or something like that to give you an idea. But in South Carolina, I didn't see any of this going on. We're going to carry on to the next charge. On August 2nd, 1997, Pope was arrested and charged with assault and battery. He was convicted and received a fine. Those are the first 3 charges that I was able to find. But these first 3 charges kind of define this person for me as far as what's going on in this story, and you'll understand. So you have somebody that will impersonate a person of trust, prostitute a minor child, and hit somebody. All not a very good start. So he did have another charge in 1998 for disorderly conduct. He received a fine. 97, forgery and larceny. I couldn't find the outcome of that case. 99. I'm sorry, I did that one. 2000, forgery again. This time he was convicted and sentenced to 90 days in jail. Okay. 2001, forgery. He was given a suspended sentence of 5 years in jail and probation of 2 years. I don't know why that seems kind of backwards to me, because his first one, there was no outcome of that case. And then the second one, he got 90 days in jail. But that third charge was a suspended 5-year jail sentence. I don't know. But I digress, right? So in 2002, he was arrested and charged with obtaining a signature or property by false pretenses. Does not disclose the outcome of that charge. Again, in 2002, he was arrested and charged with the operation of a retail business without a license. I'm not too worried about that. That's probably something like he was running a business, maybe selling things or not charging sales tax, and that's what that's about. 2003, driving under suspension. 2006, malicious injury to personal property. He was convicted, but his sentence is listed as unknown. I don't know why. Again, in 2006, he was arrested and charged with illegal distribution of recording. That could be burnt CDs and movies and things like that. In 2007, arrested and charged with the operation of retail business without a license. Again, in 2007, convicted of illegal distribution of recording and given a suspended sentence of 1 year in jail. which was converted to 2 years of prison. And then in 2011, he was arrested and charged with unlawful use of a telephone, and he was convicted and fined. And I think this may have been a harassment one, but I'm actually going to read from my script over here, because here's where there's certain charges that will kind of make you wonder, like, what is going on here? So December 4th of 2011, the Florence County Sheriff's Office report states that a deputy was called out to Carolina Hospital in reference to an S misconduct. A 13-year-old girl told the deputy that she had those kind of interactions with Pope and later found out that he had AIDS. The girl said her friend introduced her to Pope, who was 34 years old at the time. So in 2011, he was 34. Okay. The report says Pope gave the girl the devil's lettuce and some money so the girl would engage with him. She said Pope did not use a condom. A 16-year-old girl told authorities that Pope took both girls back to his residence on Lakeview Drive, where he engaged with them. The 16-year-old said the incident happened on Thanksgiving Day. Both girls told deputies that they were concerned about contracting AIDS because they said Pope did not use a condom. Pope was only listed as a subject on this report and was not arrested. A box next to the word unfounded on the report is filled in. And that could be a number of reasons. These girls could have recanted their statement. They could have not followed up, or the sheriff's office probably didn't follow up. I mean, there's a number of reasons why this would happen, but the sheer fact that their ages are 13 and 16 with a 34-year-old man is a bit troubling, especially because the age of consent is 16. And for the purpose of situations like this, I don't think that anybody under the age of 18 should be able to consent to any of those kind of acts with somebody 21 and older. So let's say she's 16 and he's 19. Yeah, he's an adult. She's not, but he's technically not mature enough. You know what I'm saying? But for the girl to be 16 or 13 and the perpetrator to be 34, hell, he's old enough to be her daddy. Kids are having kids at 16, you know? So that's that one. And then also in December of that year, a woman told deputies that Pope had been constantly calling her and sent her a pornographic text message. Report indicates a prior relationship between the woman and Pope. And I think that's where, and the only reason why I read that one is I think that's where that initial harassment one that I had just read to you guys was between them. Now in 2013, he was a victim of something. 2014, it was a stalking case of a woman that he was in a relationship. Not sure if it was the same woman, but he claimed that a woman called authorities to report a man walking in front of her home. She said she was scared of the man because he had mental problems and had become obsessed with her in the past. Yeah. But the stalking case wasn't necessarily him. It was a friend of his. Okay. 2014, Pope was accused of stealing a cell phone from a man's home. 2015, his ex-girlfriend called 911, stating that he was following her, and he said he was following her to get his house key. She gave him the house key. Cop told him don't have any further contact. He agreed, and they went on about their merry way. So far, between 95 to 2015, this man has been in contact with law enforcement over a half a dozen times. I didn't even count, honestly. And I didn't count because the number is irrelevant. What's relevant is what he's being charged with. Okay. 2016, he reported that a 14-year-old went into his car and stole money. 2017, he claimed somebody broke into his home by kicking in his door and stole a TV. Again, in 2017, he called 911 again. Now, December 13th of 2017, deputies were called out for a report of a 16-year-old girl threatening to commit suicide. The girl told deputies she feels like she wants to hurt herself because she said Pope, now 40, had been spreading things about her on social media and destroying her life. She said since September 27th of 2017, Pope had been paying her for those activities and blackmailing her to do certain acts when she didn't want to. She tried to cut ties with him weeks prior, and he refused to leave her alone. She said he was going to her friends trying to find her. She did state that a lot of those acts were consensual, but she felt as if he was brainwashing her and trying to take advantage of her. And she also goes on to report that he's had a lot of very interesting, to say the least, relationships with girls between the ages of 15 and 16. Now, I know I stated at the beginning of this that he was 42. I believe he's 45 now. He was 42 in 2019 when he ultimately got arrested. Sorry for the spoiler alert, but he's 45.
Here's what I found.
Oh my gosh, sorry, it's my watch. So she said that those relationships between he and those younger girls were, him starting off asking the girls if they wanted to work for him, handing out flyers for his promotion business where, he's promoting parties and events. And then bribing them with money. He does go on to tell the girl that his dad was a federal judge and that he would get off on anything that they claimed against him. You guys, I took my glasses off, so now I don't know where I'm at. I'm sorry. Oh, she also reports that there was evidence on a phone in which Pope asks for sex. Sorry, the S word. And states he'll give the person money. Deputies were told that he often films these encounters with the teenage girls. The phone was logged into evidence at the Florence County Sheriff's Office. Pope was listed as a subject in this incident, but was not arrested at the time. And according to the report, the administrative section was marked as administratively closed, which to me, if I was the victim in this case, would make me feel like, maybe he was telling the truth about his father. And if she knew of other girls, then maybe those girls didn't come forward for the same reasons. I couldn't even imagine, though, being afraid to get help. I'm not saying they were. I'm just saying, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. To be afraid to reach out for help when somebody you feel is brainwashing you and won't leave you alone, and there's nothing you could do because you're not getting the help. It's pretty jacked up, you guys. So May 23rd, 2018, a woman told deputies that she had found out that her 15-year-old daughter had been communicating with an unknown older white man via Snapchat and Facebook. The woman said the man seemed to be luring young girls to contact him to win prizes on Facebook. But she also says that the man had several pictures of underage girls on his profile on Snapchat in the book. The woman said the man was using the name DJ Kid 69 and DJ Kid Promo King. Pope was listed as a subject on this report and was not arrested, according to the report. It's marked active in the administrative section of the report. I don't know if this is one of his later charges was this girl, because at the time, and the report that I got this off of was 2020. So here we are 2 years later. I'm not sure. I wish I knew, honestly, because I told you guys I got invested in this one. Now, this report is the most alarming, and it literally pisses me off. So May 27th of 2018, one of Pope's family members calls deputies and reports that he's having those activities with minors. His family member says that he's known by the name DJ Kid and pays girls for those actions, and then posts about it on social media sites like Facebook and Snapchat. The family member also said this type of activity had increased recently because Pope was at Bike Week. Now, for those of you that don't know, or on the Midwest, Bike Week is similar to Sturgis. It's like a motorcycle rally where, you go to this event to see, other bikes, show off motors, all of that thing. All of those things. But this family member also claimed to have screenshots of pornographic images that Pope had posted and sent out on Snapchat. The relative said Pope's actions severely affected them. It was like messing with them mentally and emotionally, so much so that they felt that they were going to commit suicide or had suicidal thoughts and ideations if nothing was done to stop this. And this is why I'm so pissed, all right? Because they say that Pope sometimes sends sexually explicit messages, and indicated Pope even hugs them inappropriately. The deputy that went to the call viewed some of the content that they were discussing and actually called EMS to get them help for their suicidal ideation. Pope was again listed as a suspect, but not freaking arrested. Nothing. I'm not upset that they called EMS, right? As they should. Anybody expressing suicidal thoughts or ideation does need help. However, they're telling you are seeing in their phone. This is now the second phone that Flores County Sheriff's Office has seen with this type of information. But you guys want to hear a fun fact? This report was also closed administratively. You know that there's about to be more victims because this is what his family member is telling you. Nothing. So I want to say about 3 or 4 months later, maybe 3. I don't know, my math is a little off because it's after 10 o'clock at night and I'm recording this, okay? But September 13th, 2018, deputies responded to a phone call about a missing teen, okay? And this person or this teen is believed to be with Mr. Pope. So the cops go knock, knock, knock. Pope and this 16-year-old answers the door, okay? They can smell a strong scent of the devil's lettuce, as everybody's calling it, protruding from this man's home. And they being the deputies, were also told that there is also a 14-year-old in the home. So now you're catching him. 3 or 4 months after, the family member tells the deputy's office that these trysts, these crimes are actually increasing. 3 to 4 months later, you go to his house and whoop, there it is, if you know the song. Okay? So Pope was read as Amanda writes, and he agreed to answer any questions. He also gave deputies permission to search his home. They did find a bag of the devil's lettuce. He did disclose as well in a top drawer in his bedroom closet. They found 6 SD cards in a sock as well. I know there's a variation of storage on SD cards, okay? But I'm also a picture taker, not a photographer. Don't get it twisted. Take pictures of like my family, my children, places we go, things that we see. And before I started using Apple products, I know how much memory even the mini SD cards and the big SD cards can hold, okay? I know because I've been using the same damn SD card since 2007. I literally have thousands of pictures on one SD card. Now, I don't know what my memory capacity is on it, but I do know that with a higher memory capacity, or me having the higher memory capacity, I'm probably going to hold a significant amount. But even when I have the smaller ones, I could hold up to like 500-600 pictures on there. So let's say he's got 6 of them. Now, either it's 6 different girls, I don't know, or they're all full. And that, my friends, is a lot of freaking pictures. Carrying on, though. They did find $500 in a coffee can in the kitchen, and they took $1,043 off of his person. Fun fact, well, not fact, but a little note, is with $1,500, he couldn't tell deputies his source of income. Really? You find a bag of the devil's lettuce, you could assume he is selling. He was already arrested for prostituting a minor. Let's see. You have evidence of his so-called, entrepreneurship. So, I mean, what does he need to verify? You have the evidence. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really bothered by this case because we're getting there. Okay? I forgot this little part. He was arrested for possession of the devil's lettuce. Oh yeah, no, that's it. There's nothing else. Okay? However, 2 days later, I'm so disgusted, you guys. It's ridiculous. Pope was arrested and charged initially with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. He was convicted of 2 counts of cruelty to children. His sentence for one of them is listed as a fine or jail time. Yeah. So there's that. Okay. As if that wasn't bad enough, right? April 17th of 2019, an employee of a Zaxby's restaurant in Florence County called deputies to report that Pope had threatened the employees. The report states that 2 of the restaurant's employees, including a 17-year-old girl, got into an argument. The report says Pope arrived in his vehicle to pick up the 17-year-old from work. Okay. And at this time, the two employees got into another argument, at which point this man allegedly gets out of his vehicle and threatens to come back, shoot up the Zaxby's and its employees. He then calls after they leave several times, harassing and continuing to threaten Zaxby's. Now, I live in Texas, okay? And out here, the Zaxby's that's closest to me is right by a high school. So I can only assume, and yes, I know when you assume, you make an ass out of you and umption. But that's okay. I'll do that, okay? You can only assume that the people, most of the people anyway, working at Zaxby's are minors. So now he's threatening minors, okay? He wasn't arrested for this at all, okay? So then we're going to fast forward to August 29th of 2019. Pope was arrested and charged with criminal conduct, you know, the S kind, in the first degree, kidnapping and trafficking persons or attempts, according to his police record. A whole year something after his family member called and reported. Now he's arrested. Okay? I'm assuming he made bail for this. Okay? Because then on September 12th of 2019, Pope was arrested and charged with criminal S conduct with a minor, second degree, 2 counts of criminal same kind of conduct, first degree, promoting the prostitution of a minor, and 2 counts of trafficking persons or attempts. So let me get this straight. You have a man who has been reported, who has been to jail, all of that for years. We are talking over 2 decades, you guys. 95. Well, no, because his first charge of anything with a minor was in 96. 96 to 2006, that's 1 decade. 2006 to 2016, that is 2. You guys literally let this man get away with this for 2 decades. 2 plus, if you want to be technical, but hey, who's counting? All right. But in November 7th of 2019, or on November 7th of 2019, he was charged with 4 counts of second degree criminal assault or conduct with a minor, age 11 to 14, and 2 counts of trafficking, according to his arrest record. Look, I got sidetracked for a minute, okay? Because, again, I told you guys the age of consent is 16. That says 11 to 14. I don't know what you guys look like at 11 years old, but I know me at 11, from the neck up, you could tell I was a girl. You could. Hell, 11 to maybe, I don't know, 15. From the neck up, you could tell I was a girl. From the neck down, not so much. I look like a little boy. And if I didn't dress like a girl, which I rarely did because I was a tomboy, you probably would have thought I was a little girl or a little boy if you didn't see my face. That's the truth. So, Dickwad, excuse my language, Grandma, I'm sorry, had a Blair hearing to see if he was competent to stand trial. Oh, yeah, he's competent. He is. Okay. Now, I'm not sure, and this is where the misinformation comes in because it's been reported over several different websites, to include Twitter, that he trafficked over 700 young black girls. That's right, people. All of his victims were black and minors. So, supposedly, allegedly, according to these other outlets, it was over 700 black girls that he had unprotected sex with. Now, I can't say it was unprotected, but these news outlets are making it seem like all of these acts were unprotected. However, on his Facebook, it stated, I'm 36 with 693 bodies, all black females. What about you? Now, if you know what, you know, the context of what he's saying, that means at 36 years old, 9 years ago, okay, 9 flipping years, was 693 encounters. That's what that means. So the Mr. Pope has openly stated in a text message that he took pride in infecting black women with HIV in the hopes that they would pass the virus on to black males. You guys, we're talking genocide here. I have a news flash for Mr. Pope, and I pray nobody takes what I'm saying out of context. In Africa, millions of Africans, black, are infected with HIV and AIDS and have been for more generations than you have been attempting. And they ain't going nowhere, baby. They all still here. Anyway, it's upsetting whether he did it intentionally to the 13-year-old and 16-year-old, before, or the 693 plus. The fact remains, he's doing this intentionally. I didn't see the text message, so I can't say that that is what the text said. That is what is being reported, okay? But the sheer fact that these girls had sex with him on Thanksgiving, and in December, they go to the hospital after they find out that he has HIV. And guess what he's not charged with? Those 2 felonies. No. Guess what else he's not charged with? If the text is accurate, a hate crime. Because seriously, that's exactly what it is. All right? If a black person was to knowingly have AIDS or HIV, go up to 15 Filipinos and not disclose that they have AIDS or HIV, and they're having unprotected sex with them, they should be charged with the hate crime. You're literally targeting a specific race here. It saddens me that humanity is this way. Especially because, I grew up believing that, I'm Black, white, Native American. Just no. I did an ancestry, y'all. I'm black. 5 different shades of, or 5 different Caucasian ethnicities. I want to say 4 African, no Native American. There's some Filipino in there. There's some Mexican in there. Spaniard. Like, yo, I am everything under the sun, right? So anything regarding any race is going to bother me because it shouldn't be that much hatred for one another to behave this way. I can guarantee if this man did an ancestry DNA test, he may have African in him too. None of us are pure anything. None. Not one. I don't care how you try to slice and dice it. An eighth is an eighth, yes. But it's an eighth that's not pure. So for people to have this much anger, hatred, animosity, or anything like that is disgusting. For you to be able to look at somebody, I don't care, man, woman, child, animal, and assault them in that manner is disgusting. What really has the world come to? And I have said this before. I know this has been going on for centuries, right? And I may have been naive to it growing up. I'm not necessarily woke, as they say, because I don't believe in one race over the other. I tell people I'm an equal opportunity racist. I don't like anybody. I don't care. And yes, if you're a little slow, that's an oxymoron, because how can you be equal opportunity and still be a racist? It don't work. They cancel each other out. For anybody that's confused, okay? Like, I don't know. It's been this way, yeah. I lost my train of thought going off on that tangent. I'm sorry. But if I would have known that this was the environment, this was the world that I would be raising children in, I probably would have had second thoughts. The only positive part of that is having these children, my children, like, I know mostly all parents are proud of their kids, but yeah, there may have been issues here or there. I mean, they're kids, right? They're my kids. And if you knew me, you would understand what that meant. But raising the young adults that I've raised in the way that I raised them, and all of the many young adults and teens and kids that I know that humanity has a standing, fighting chance to be better than anything I'm seeing today. I do think that our justice system needs some serious correction, some overhauling, something, okay? Because to not charge somebody with the sexual irresponsibility that this man has shown, you guys, I literally did almost a 45-minute video on nothing but criminal charges. No family history, no background, no job, none of it. Just a criminal history. One person. That could have been nipped in the bud. If it is a medical condition that make him see young girls the way they do, that make him hate Black people the way they do, if he does, that could have been corrected in the 90s, baby. He may be a functioning, law-abiding citizen today. Or not, But we don't know if we don't try something different, because I tell you what, they tell you this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, and each time expecting a different result. The United States of America is insane. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to go into all of that. But I'm saying I'm looking at a system that is broken. I am looking at a system that spends more money housing criminals than they do trying to rehabilitate them, treating them as an animal, and thinking they're going to be better later doesn't help. Making convictions determine the type of work they could do. Now, I get you don't want a sex offender as a teacher or a janitor in a school. I understand that. I do. But you mean to tell me that a sex offender can't get an education, a degree, and do well in finance? As an accountant or something? You know what I mean? Like, there's options. You mean to tell me that somebody that has a violent crime can't go to counseling, can't, go to church or whatever it is that it takes to change and alter their life for the better, can't get a job as a caregiver? What if the person that they were violent against wasn't even anybody they knew? What if the violence wasn't even physical and no weapon, and it was just verbal? Give me this or else. They give it to you. You get a violent burglary charge that is a felony, and now you cannot work in protecting anybody, of caring for anybody, your aging family. There's no hope for change in the world we live in today. We make it harder for people. But thankfully, if parents raise their children the best they can, I know when kids act up, it's not always the parents. It is not, I don't care what anybody says, it is not always the parents, because I was a rebellious teen. My parents, one was strict, one was lenient. I was rebellious until I wasn't. And it wasn't because, the lenient parent did wrong or the strict parent did wrong. It was my life choices. It was the choices I made because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And then when I didn't was when I became a parent. That's when it mattered, because I wanted my children to be better than me, so we could raise our kids the way we're going to raise them. It's going to be up to them, the life choices. But if you know that as a parent, you've done every fucking thing, excuse my language, that you could do to make them happy, successful, functioning adults in this world to make change, regardless of the path they go down, then you did your job. This is something that our system could have corrected. This is something that the officers could have corrected. So here we are, almost an hour in, and I'm actually livid. I'm livid. But what can you say? I see all these change.org things. Yeah, there is one for him, actually, where people are petitioning for change. What do we see actually come of that? The people are speaking. We the people are speaking. What is it going to take? Look, do not misinterpret what I'm saying. Violence does not work. Marching could, depending on the topic, because those turn violent, right? Protests turn violent. And if we know that, then why do that? Because, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and each time expecting a different result. So what can we do? It's called a conversation. I don't know. Get to know opposite people. I don't know. Because I don't have the answers, but I do see the issues. And if maybe enough of us discuss the issues that we see, we can come together and know that our grandchildren or their grandchildren or their grandchildren will have a better system than we've had. That's all I got, guys. I'm sorry. On tangents, which is what makes my storytelling kind of nifty, except for when they're so serious. I will tell you though, the next episode, I'm warning you guys now, it is not on anything like this. The next episode is actually a story time. And this story is about a scammer. Now, it could be a crime one. It could. But it's definitely a story. And it makes you really see the depth of humanity and how far people will go, right? Like, what's wrong with people? I definitely want more interaction though. So, kind of begging for people here. If we could like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and we'll see how it goes from there. Bye.